All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to day 3 of the She Leads, She Grows series. And today we are delighted and honored to have Miss Alice Irongo speaking to us about self-awareness. Yeah, so let me just take a few minutes to share with you what I know about Alice. Alice is uh, Alice is a consciousness coach. When I initially knew Alice, she was transiting into, oh, by the way, she's a guru in finance, huh? And she was transiting into coaching. And initially, it was emotional intelligence coaching. And of course, as you know, as we go, we refine. And now Alice likes to consider herself as a consciousness coach. She's very good in the area of emotional intelligence and self awareness. As we all know, if you are not aware of what's happening in your life, then you are not able to sometimes it becomes difficult to make the right changes. So Alice will be talking to us today about self-awareness. So keep your notebooks ready. I would like to believe that this session is going to be very interactive. Feel free to ask questions. And just before that, I probably just want to give you just a quick run through of what has happened in the last 2 days. So the first day we were talking about, confidence, and confidence was about doing the inner work. The way sometimes we go to important rooms because we have earned that, that credential to be there. But sometimes we tend to either allow imposter syndrome or other things in our lives to prevent us from speaking in the room. So one of the things that we were told is when you're in such rooms, you need to make sure that you speak up. Don't just be what I would like to call a flower in the room. Speak up, and what you say, make sure it is so memorable that people will not forget you. And then also do your research well so that when you speak from a place of good knowledge and understanding. And then yesterday we were talking about owning our stories, that when we share our stories, and our stories sometimes might feel embarrassing, and that we don't want to talk about them because, what will other people think about us? Because our stories may be stories of failures, but of failure, or we didn't achieve something as we wanted, but eventually those stories end up growing us. So what the speaker encouraged us to do is to share our stories, because those stories can also encourage somebody else and inspire them to do more, and as well also allow other fellow women to know that they're not the only ones going through the particular situation at that point. So without further ado, allow me to welcome Alice to speak to us. Alice, the floor is yours.
Hi, ladies. Happy Wednesday. I hope you can hear me clearly.
Yes, we can.
Can you? Super, super. Very happy to be here. It is an honor to be here, and I've loved the introduction. Yeah, like we should own our stories, something that I have done. And for me, I decided to do that when I realized that when we own our stories, we give other people around us permission to own their stories as well. And also, as ladies, when we own our stories, we actually shorten someone else's learning curve. For me, in fact, that's the biggest reason as to why I do what I do, why I share my stories, why I'm passionate, because I realized, imagine if someone back
You go
then,
over
many
there so that you
years,
concentrate. I go over
sorry?
there so that.
Oh, it's someone who's okay. So I realized if only someone had just shared with me what I'm sharing now, perhaps I'd have made different choices or not. But if whichever way, I'd have gone into those spaces very conscious and very aware of what I was getting myself into. Something that I'm very passionate about, self-awareness. Self-awareness, and God, my story is long, we won't get into that, but I actually got into coaching as a result of my own journey, and it started with self-awareness. And I'm so glad we're having this conversation because, unfortunately for me, I learned about self-awareness when I had already been pushed, I'd been pushed to the very wall, like to the darkest corner. And it was at that point, the way we ask ourselves, hey, kweni kuliendaje, as in, how did I get here? That's when I started asking myself questions. How did I get here? What do I even want for myself? What do I want for my family? What do I want for my relationships? What do I want for my business? But unfortunately for me, it was, when I'd already like been like pushed to the corner by life. And I'm sharing this out of the passion that we don't have to wait. We don't have to wait until, I don't know, you lose that relationship. You don't have to wait until you're fired. You don't have to wait until you lose that job. You don't have to wait until your marriage is rocky. You don't have to wait until you're not having a good relationship with your children or your family members or your colleagues. Like, you can start now. And I can tell you guys, self-awareness is the beginning, it's the foundation of the life that you want, yeah? And I have a short presentation, and this is very conversational and very practical. So please allow me, I'm going to share a short presentation. I'm hoping we all have a pen and paper because it's going to be very practical. The whole idea is, by the time we are leaving this session, please set an intention. What is it that you want to pick from this conversation? At least one or two things that by the end of this conversation, you'll say, you know what, last year in March, 6 months ago, 3 weeks ago, we went for this, I attended the She Leads, She Grows. And in this particular session, this is what I picked, yeah? So please be setting your intentions as I bring the presentation to... I hope you can all see the presentation, the power of self-awareness. Are we together? Because sometimes my comp hangs.
Yes, we can see.
Super, super. So just in case it hangs and I'm talking about something that is not on the screen, please alert me. So for me, when I think of self-awareness, this is exactly what I have in mind, yeah? We go through life without understanding ourselves. We go through life without reflecting. We just tunaenda tu. But the power of self-awareness, when you look at the mirror, that's when you'll discover, okay, kumbe this hairband that I've worn, imeenda hivi. Oh, I have something over here that I need to remove. That's the power of self-awareness, yeah? What comes to mind is just someone looking at themselves in the mirror without any judgment, just to observe and learn and grow themselves. So this is the agenda for today's session. So I'll share a short introduction, which I guess we've already done that. So we'll just go to the session, then I'll leave some time for Q&A, and then hand it over to our host, Helen. So I hope, ladies, we are ready. We have our pen and our papers, and we can get started. So this is it, yeah? In fact, for me, this is the most important part of this conversation, just understanding ourselves. When someone asks, what is self-awareness? In the simplest definition, it's just having a clear understanding of what you think, how it makes you feel, and how it shapes your reality. Ladies, please, let's write this down because it will change someone's life. You think, you feel, you act. Every single thing starts from thought. You think, then the way you think shapes how you feel, and then you choose, you make your decisions based on that. Every single thing in your space, from what you wear in the morning, from what you eat, from what time you wake up, to who you're relating with, to the work that you're doing, to, I don't know, the kind of transport you'll use when you're going home, the kind of conversations you're having around you, everything stems from this, yeah? And that's why we're talking about self-awareness, because unfortunately, most of us, and I used to do that, we live out of default, not by design. Tuko tu, tuna flow tu. We just go. We found people saying men are this. So we just joined the bandwagon and decided. We found people saying, I don't know, money is evil or money is bad. So we just joined we took other people's beliefs. We got into this space and we were told, you know what? The world is out to get you. We never asked, is that true? Like, really, why would God put me in a world that is out to get? We never got to understand. And this is why we are having this conversation today, yeah? Because once you understand, it's amazing how we think. We think about, yes, we all know we think, but we rarely think about what we think about. And I'm telling you, ladies, once we start doing that and we start being intentional, oh my God, it's like a whole movie about your life, about the choices that you've made will start unfolding before you. And that is in that space, you get the choice, yeah, to make conscious choices instead of waking up and doing things automatically. And as I'm saying this, I just want you to think about the last 24 hours, yeah? Between like 8:10 p.m., 8:20 p.m. last night and 8:20, what have you done? Like, okay, let's even talk about the morning. Since morning, when you woke up, what side of the bed did you wake up on, yeah? When you brushed your teeth, did you think about whether unaenda left or right, up or down, or was it automatic? When you picked your shoes, was it automatic? You know, when you went to work, I've been in many times I've been in spaces where I'm driving to a place and I don't even know how I got there. Like if someone tells me, "Nani nilikuwa na town," I'm like, because I wasn't there. And this most of whatever we are talking about right now is to just get us started. Yeah. So we can even take a screenshot of this because we might not be able to do everything in the short span of time, but the idea is to get us started, yeah? I want us to think about how many times, how many actions within the last, let's say even 12 hours, were intentional. When you went into that meeting, if you went into a meeting, did you set an intention? Ama uliambia tu, Alice kuna meeting, and you just went and sat and waited. Did you know what you're taking there? Did you know what you wanted to pick? Did you know how you wanted the meeting to go? If it's a conversation, if it's clients that you are talking to, did you set an intention? So all these come together, yeah? Self-awareness, having a clear understanding, because once we have a clear understanding of that, we can be able to choose different. And that's why I really emphasize when we started, self-awareness is the foundation or the beginning of the life that you want. And it starts with our thoughts. How aware are you of your thoughts? Just think about it. What do you think about? And just this is just to get us started, yeah? Write on one sheet of paper that is blank, that has nothing. Just write over here, my thoughts. Then write about what you think about most of the time. So, like, let's say if you think about money most of the time, are you thinking about money coming in and how it's working for you? Or is it based on luck? Are you thinking of how it's never enough? Are you thinking of how other people have it and you don't have it? Just write down what your thoughts are. If your thoughts are about women, what comes to mind? Don't overthink it, just write down. We write and we don't judge, right? So just write down because it will tell you where your thoughts are. Then from there, what feelings do you get out of these thoughts? So like, for example, if maybe I could be thinking, oh, money is not easy to get, then how does that make me feel? Does that make me feel empowered to go out and look for it? Or does that make me feel disempowered? Just think about maybe the top 6 emotions you've had in the week, yeah? Write them down. Self-awareness, we are talking about our personality. What kind of a personality do you have? Are you introverted? You know, you keep quiet, you keep to yourself, or are you the exact opposite, extroverted? I would encourage all of us to do a test. And I'll put it on the chat. Oh, Helen, please, you can help me write it down. It's the Myers-Briggs personality test. It's a free test online. And ladies, it will, if you haven't done it, please do it. If you've done it, as circumstances change, you'll find, your personality test type has changed. Yeah. It's a free test. And it will show you this is your personality. This is the kind of career that you would suit you. This is how you show up in your relationships. This is what is best for you. My goodness, it will blow your minds. And ladies, it is free of charge. Mbona tusijijue, mbona tusijielewe, and we have all these resources online, yeah? Then when we're talking about self-awareness, the other thing is to understand our strengths. And I don't like calling them weaknesses. I prefer to call them areas of improvement. Why? Because once you understand your strength, yeah, the whole idea is to set an intention. The strength that you're going to write down tonight, starting tomorrow, wake up and tell God, dear Lord, help me to use my strengths. So if my strength is I'm a talkative person, you know what? I will use that, talkativeness to influence positively in my spaces, whether it's my relationship, my family, my colleagues, strangers that I meet on the road. If my strength is I am good at resolving conflict, what are the spaces that I can use my strength? The whole idea is we minimize ourselves, and most of the time is because we don't know what our strengths are. And please, if you're thinking, guy, missing a strength, imagine that's not true. In fact, for us, what comes so naturally to us, and we don't think about it. We just think it's very natural, happens to be our strengths. Then there's the area of improvement as well. If you're impatient, please be very honest with yourself as you're doing this, yeah? We write and we do not judge. The whole idea is we are looking at what we can level up on, what we can improve on to be better. And then we are also leveraging on our strengths. Another wonderful resource on this, yeah, is the Johari window. And it shows, the blind spots, what you know, what you don't know about yourself, what people know about you, and what they don't know about you as well. An amazing free resource, also online. Kindly, Helen, please write that down so that you can share with us the Johari window. You can find it online. And what I love about it, it has this element where you can put down your strengths and then your areas of improvement. Then you can share. They give you a link that you can share with people around you. And I remember when I did this, it blew my mind. Like I shared with my friends, people who are close to me. And what they wrote about me, I was like, haya, kumbe nakwanga hivo. Haya, oh my goodness. Oh, I've never thought of this as a strength. Oh, this is how people see me. So please do that. Take time, feel that, find out about yourself, share with people around you, and just find out what they think about you and what you can be able to leverage on, and also what you can be able to work on, yeah? Then the other two bits on self-awareness, we are talking about you think, you feel, you act. So how do your thoughts and your emotions influence your behavior and your actions and your decisions? And then the last bit is, how do you relate with other people as well, yeah? So we might not be able to do this, but ladies, kindly take a screenshot. Then we can do this when we have ample time. These two are very important. What do you think about most of the time? We've talked about writing that on a sheet of paper. How do you talk to yourself? And I remember when I did this for myself, I actually started observing. I decided I'm going to be an observer. And it's amazing that as human beings, we have this ability. It's called metacognition, where you can be the observer and the doer. You can find yourself talking the way I am, and I'm still listening to myself. And as I was doing this for myself, I could hear myself talk. And I could catch myself. Those things that you say, mi ni mjinga nimefanya, I would start picking that up. Who said I was stupid? Who said I was foolish? Foolish people can only make foolish decisions. But it is okay. You can make, mistakes once in a while, You can, you can make foolish things, foolish mistakes once in a while, but that does not make you foolish. Let's not label ourselves, because the moment you call yourself stupid, a stupid person can never make any intelligent or any wise decision. But once in a while, we make stupid mistakes, and that's where self-compassion comes in, yeah? So let us watch, and you'll be so amazed how you talk to yourself is how you talk to the people around you. If you're compassionate on yourself, you'll be compassionate on the people around you. If you're tough on yourself, you have no compassion whatsoever, that's the same way you'll talk to your children, you'll talk to your mates, you'll talk to your colleagues, you'll talk to, yeah. So let's really focus on positive talk, talking to ourselves. I love saying this, yeah. If there's one person you'll talk to until the day you're 6 feet under is yourself. You're always with yourself. You wake up, you're with yourself. You go to lunch, you go to the toilet, you're with yourself. So why not talk to yourself the way you'd talk to a best friend, yeah? Why not talk to yourself in a way that would empower you because you're with yourself all the time? Why not? I remember when I did this, I was like, Alice Njambi, you're always going to be with Alice. So, see, we just be friends. Let's just be friends. I'll be talking to myself the way I would want someone to talk to me, the way I would talk to a 4-year-old with compassion and love and kindness. And I decided this is how I'm going I'm changing my relationship with myself. And I can tell you the moment I did that, without even knowing, my relationships around me started changing. The other thing about our thoughts also is how we view the world. We got into this space where, we were told, be careful, be wary about the world. The world is out to get you. And I understand. It's from a point of our parents, our caregivers wanted to protect us. But how about we just change the way we change the language? Instead of saying, be wary, the world is out to get you, how about empowering ourselves to have the wisdom to choose in those situations? That way, we don't walk around in fear thinking that people are about to, they're looking for us, they're about to get us, they are going for our next. What about if we just change that talk to one of empowerment? You know what? I've empowered my kids that no matter where they go, they have the right values, they will make the right decisions. I don't need to tell them, usiende huku, usiende huku, usiende huku. Why? Because the moment they're out there and mommy or daddy is not there, then what gives them the basis to make those decisions, yeah? And the same for us. When we are in those spaces, instead of making decisions out of fear, why don't we choose to make decisions out of love and empowerment? Imagine they're both choices. The only thing is we focused on one and we have been conditioned on the side of fear so much that our thoughts are fear-based. We fear, not having enough. We fear breaking up with our partners. We fear losing money, losing our jobs, our businesses going wrong. What if we actually chose to look at the other side, yeah? I could talk about that forever. Let's go to emotions, yeah? So we've talked about this. What emotions? Let's list. What emotions have you experienced this week? Let's say from Sunday, yeah? Then let's go one by one. What was going on? So I felt anxious on Sunday. What was going on? Okay, maybe I had an interview on Monday. What information did they carry? I really wanted to do well in this interview. Okay, how can I reframe this? Instead of being anxious, instead of carrying fear, what can I do to prepare myself, to enable myself, yeah, to carry myself in a way that will give me the best results in the interviews? The other one is triggers. We get so triggered most of the time, we don't even understand what is going on. Someone says something, wow, umemrukia from here to. And I see this all the time. On social media, imagine someone posts something, then mtu ametoka, I don't know, sijui where, they have no clue what is going on, and they have come and they have judged that situation. Why? They simply got triggered. They never sat to ask what is going on. What was your reaction to that trigger? You know, what is going on around you? Why? Because once you understand, emotional regulation comes in. And this is a whole conversation on its own. And Helen, I hope one day we'll have a conversation on emotional intelligence and emotional regulation. When you're triggered, you know, as you're trying to understand what is going on, how do you pause? Taking deep breaths, yeah? Instead of this thing that we say, kanaenda wapi? Most of the time it's usually saying, you know what, I don't want to think about the consequences because I have no ability to self-regulate, so I am going to react instead of responding, which is not a conscious way of living. A whole conversation on its own. Please take a screenshot of this, ndio tuende haraka haraka. Yeah, because I can see it's maybe we have like 10-15 minutes to go. We've talked about personality. So let me go back here. We have thoughts, we have emotions. Very important. In fact, these are like everything starts from thoughts. And then we think, we feel. Then we have the personality. How would you describe yourself in 3 words? Please take a screenshot of this. As we're doing this, let me call it a mini assignment for ourselves. Yeah, just take a blank paper, write personality. How would you describe? Don't overthink. Just write what comes to mind. What do you like most about yourself? What do you like least about yourself? What do others say about you? Ladies, remember we said this is a very practical session. Like we are living here with something new, or we are enforcing what we know about ourselves, yeah? So that's the first bit. That's the third bit, personality. The first one was thoughts. The second one was emotions. To mend our personality, we've talked about our strengths and our areas of improvement. What are your 3 greatest strengths, yeah? How can you use them more often? Starting tomorrow, how can you use at least one of the strengths that you're going to pick today? Please, when we are having the conversation for tomorrow, Helen, I hope you'll give us, you know, the first 2-3 minutes to talk about how we used our strengths tomorrow. Amen? Then our areas of improvement. What are the 2 areas that you can work on and how you can improve on them, yeah? Then another way to develop our self-awareness is looking under our skin. Not everything is here, like on our skin. Skin ya ngozi. You know, everything. I love saying this. Imagine you are born with everything that you need. You don't need, you know, the way we sit and say, if only I had the right connections, if only I had this, if only I had this. Imagine those are just self-limiting beliefs. If you look under your skin, and skin is an acronym, you'll find out that you have everything. God has empowered you with everything that you need to be the best version of you right now. And the skin is an acronym. The first one is the skills. What skills do you have? Please just write down. Zote, please write them, all of them. Even the ones that you think are mundane. Cooking skills. I remember when I did this and a friend asked me, why didn't you write driving skills? I was like, like, what the heck? Like, isn't that obvious? I'm like, no, that's not obvious. There are people who don't know how to drive. I'm like, and how is this helping? I'm like, you just put, when you put down the skills, you'll just see how, you know, maybe some skills that you've never thought you can be able to use in your line of work. Maybe skills that you've never thought you can be able to use in your spaces. They'll all start popping up. You'll start, and the other thing is when we do this, our self-confidence is boosted. Yeah, kumbe have all these things. Na vile mu feel like I don't know anything. You'll be surprised, yeah? So let's list down all our skills. Knowledge, what do you know? Do you have anyone who would want to maybe share the difference between skills and knowledge? What's the difference? Anyone willing to try? There are no what? There are no wrong answers. We are trying. It's a try. Anyone willing to give it a try?
I think that knowledge is the information that you gather in order to build the competence, or what, in other words, the skill to be able to do something.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. You nailed it. I could sit and read everything about football, yeah? And I'll have a lot of knowledge. But do I have the skills for playing football? No. So you've nailed it. The knowledge is information. What information do you have? You know, because from that, you can be able now to build on the competencies, the skills. So please list that down. Education is pretty much straightforward. Experience. What experience do you have? Even the ones that, you don't even think about. The ones that for you are non-consequential. I remember when I was doing this, one of the things that I listed was when I was in campus, we did a taught thing, a training of trainers by Kanda School. And then I realized, my God, I am here wondering if I can be able to train and coach people. Yet, when I was in campus, I was already doing that, as in already have experience. Yet, I had to actually sit down and list for them to start popping up, yeah? Please write your experiences, and experience here, even what you might deem to be negative. What you might deem for it to be like maybe a mess. You would be so surprised that in that mess, there's a message for someone. In that mess, by the way, a whole career. Starting with my story. My story started with my own mess of getting to a space where I made all the wrong decisions, got to a place where I got divorced. I started asking myself, how did I get here? What do I want? In fact, that's where self-awareness started. Feeling so bad, feeling so bitter about life, and then thinking, I don't want to live like this. Then I asked myself, if I didn't want to live like this, so how does my new life, look like? So who is Alice? What is she doing there? What kind of character? How does she feel? I didn't know what I was doing then, but I was developing self-awareness. How does that experience help me? My coaching, I just share my experiences, by the way. And it's amazing how, as human beings, we all think we are going through things on our own, and no one understands me until we share our stories and we go like, haya, ata wewe, kumbe, it's not so bad. Kumbe, our experiences are what actually they form a very huge part of who we are. And I love that yesterday we were talking about owning our stories, yeah? Hakuna cha moving forward after this week. Hakuna cha kusema, you know what, I am ashamed of. Please own your past, own your mistakes. Whatever happened, you cannot go back and change time, but you can actually do better. Your past can make you bitter or better. It's your choice, yeah? And then N is for networks. Who do you know? Your networks are your network. So who do you know, or who would you like to know? Depending on where you want to head. If you're thinking, you know what, I want to build a happy, healthy marriage, who do you know? Who can you follow online? What networks can you plug into? If you're thinking, I want to level up my career, think about the next 5 years. What is happening in your industry? Where would you want to be? Which networks can you plug in that will help open your mind, expand, your way of thinking, so that you actually fit to be that person who you want to be in those 5 years, yeah? So that is skin. This is a lot of amazing inner work that we can only do by ourselves. No one can do this for you. Then let's talk about the types of self-awareness. There are actually two. There's the internal one, or what we call intra self-awareness, yeah? So we are talking about, do you know your values? Or, when anything goes, tunaenda hivi, tunaenda hivi, tunaenda hivi, tunaenda hivi. Do you have a clear understanding of your values, of your passions? Why do you do the things that you do? Why do you even like the things that... I remember when I was doing this for myself, I did an audit. Where do I spend my time? The most of my time. Okay, how does it make me feel afterwards? Is it a good... am I investing my time, or am I wasting my time? Am I spending my time? Investing and spending, very different. You spend money, aita rudi. You invest, it will come back with its brothers and sisters and cousins. So let's do an audit, like do I understand what I want out of life? And if I don't understand, imagine it's okay. God, open my mind. Show me. I want to understand. And I remember when I did this for myself, I was very blank, super, super blank. And I had to go back. Like there were so many blank spaces. I had to go back, like, okay, now I don't even know myself. I don't understand myself. I was like, when is the last time that you actually had an idea of understanding yourself or feeling good about yourself? And for me, it was like almost 10 years back when I was in campus. And I was like, okay, what are the things that used to give me joy back then? And I remembered, okay, this is what used to give me joy. These were my values. And it's amazing that I do this exercise like every year. And it's amazing that utapata, you know what? These were my values because this is what I really wanted to inculcate in that season. And now perhaps they have what? Okay, most of the time values zinakwanga like constant, yeah? But you'll find maybe what? The goals have changed. The way you respond to things have changed. Your strengths have become more fortified. You found new things. Weaknesses, areas of improvement you've been able to work on. That's the internal bit, the inner work. Then the other one is now inter self-awareness, yeah? How do other people perceive you? Please use the link for Johari Window, share with people. Just find out what they think about you. How well do you understand other people's perspectives? Are you the type who listens to talk back, or you listen because you want to understand? Or are you listening because you want to prove a point, yeah? How do you handle criticism? I used to handle criticism. I used to think criticism is a sign of attack. So you come and tell me, Alice, by this conversation, I didn't feel it. I'd be like, what? And I would start defending myself. Even you, it's not like you're that good. And angalia taona fanyanga. Lack of self-awareness. Does criticism sting to date? Yes, absolutely does. Why? Because it kind of like criticism stings. But when you get to a point of self-awareness, you can be able to, take a deep breath and ask, okay, what is it about this session that, you did not like? And in that space, when I'm open to getting feedback from you, I'll understand. But then, Alice, umeongea sana, next time, just engage people a bit more. You took us very fast, or whatever it is, yeah? But unless I'm open to that kind of feedback, I can't be able to grow. The other times also, people give you feedback and it's a projection of their own fears, their own insecurities. And that's where wisdom and discernment comes in. You go like, but they return to sender, you have to discuss, yeah? But you have to get to a point where you're open and willing to receive big feedback, yeah? Feedback, and you're willing to receive it with grace because feedback enables you to grow. Then there's this, should I call it a graph? And as I'll just take 1 or 2 minutes to take us through this. And as we do that, I want you to think about where you lie on this matrix. So the first one, we're talking about people who have low internal self-awareness and low external self-awareness. These are the seekers, the guys on the extreme. This is left on my side, the extreme left, yeah? Opportunity, the seekers. These are the guys who go with the wind. Tunaenda hivi. Hey, we think blue is in. Hey, everyone is saying blue is the right thing. We think this is in. Everyone, we think this club is the best. Phew, kila mtu. We think this is how you, like, seekers don't know who they are. They don't even know what they stand for. They don't know how others perceive them. They just go with the wind. Wana wako tu, wanaendaga tu. Tunaenda hivi, wana flow tu, And there's this statement that says, only a dead fish goes with the flow. For me, I found that when I read that statement somewhere, I was like, whoa, dear Lord, I do not want to be a dead fish nowhere in my life. So if I do not want to be a dead fish, I need to understand who I am, what I stand for. so that I get myself into spaces that I know are good for me. So please, if we have seekers in the house, please, we need to move from there. Yeah. By the grace of God. Amen. Amen. Then we have people who they have a good understanding of what others perceive of them, but hey, their own understanding of themselves very, very low. And those are the pleasers. Yeah. They're too focused of, let me put this in Kenyanese, tutambia watu nini. So they're very focused on, you know what, I need to dress like this, I need to show up like this on social media, and when my family, we're going out, this is what. They're too focused on what others think about them. They're so focused that they don't even know, they're not focused on what matters to them. And this is a hindrance. Why? Because they then make choices to please others, yeah, and not themselves. So a healthy balance, very important. Then we have people who they understand themselves. They have a very good idea of who they are, where they are going. However, usijaribu kuwa challenge. You know, they will kanyaga you so badly. And those are the introspectors. They know who they are, but they don't challenge their views. They don't allow feedback. They're know-it-alls. How is that harmful? Because it limits their success, yeah? Like I was sharing, when I'm open to feedback and I'm told, Alice, fanya hivi, this one do like this, I'm bound to grow, yeah? When I'm open to feedback in relationships, we are bound to connect more. But when it's my way or the highway, and I think I am right and everyone is wrong, it hinders even having genuine, authentic connections with people. Then we have the matrix where we all aspire to be, and that's awareness, understanding who we are, what we want, and we also seek out other opinions. So we understand, Alice understands who she is, what she stands for, where she's heading, but she's not closed. She's like, okay, so Helen has come in, Faith has come in, Joe has come in with this opinion, and we are open to listening to other people. So I want us to take, because this is so important, I just want us to take 30 seconds to think about where we lie in this spectrum. You don't have to share, but I just want, by the end of this space, you already know where you lie. And as we're doing that, let me share a statistic on people who think are self-aware. There's a study that was done, and 9 out of 10 people thought they are self-aware, but in reality, only 1 person was. So kama umejieka kwa hiyo matrix ya self-aware, let's go back to those questions we were asking ourselves about our thoughts, our emotions, our personality, our strengths, and our weaknesses. Unless you can score 9 out of 10 in all those, please, ujue tu auko kwa hiyo matrix. You're possibly heading there, but you're not the 1 out of 10. You're possibly the 9 out of 10 who think they are self-aware, but in reality, they're not. So I'm keeping quiet so that we can just take a few seconds to think about the quadrant where we are falling. All right. You can take a screenshot of this and possibly maybe ruminate on it further after the meeting. Then when we are talking about self-awareness, this is where we want to be. Number 1, you know who you are, what is important for you, what you stand for. We are talking about knowing what you do. You think, you feel, you act. So you can be able to understand why you behave the way that you do. When your hubby comes in late and he's smelling of alcohol, why do you behave the way you do? When your child comes in and you're screaming at them, why do you scream? When you're at work and you're probably nil by mouth with your colleagues, why do you behave the way that you do? and your motivations in the spaces that you're in. What is motivating you? Yeah. Is it ambition? Is it service? Is it whatever it is? Sometimes, and I found this quite interesting. Sometimes we might think we have very sincere and pure motivations until we really search ourselves and we find out, kumbe, me was in this discussion to prove a point that I am better than everyone. It was an ego thing. It was a pride thing. Instead of, I was in this space to serve, humility. But unless we go deep, why am I in the spaces that I am? What am I taking there? What is my motivation for being in, unless we do that, we will not, we'll just keep on lying to ourselves and not understanding where we are doing the things that we are doing. Then the other one is the areas of improvement, what we need to learn. And then all that we take and now become the best versions of ourselves, using what we know, using our strengths, then creating an environment for success. Then I think this will be the last slide because I'd want to leave the question, some time for Q&A. When we are talking about self-awareness, if you're wondering, but then imagine, where do I start? This is where we start, by knowing what you want. So just again, a very practical exercise. Please take a blank piece of paper and just write at the top, my wants, yeah? So what do I want? Then go deeper. Why do I want it? And then go even deeper. What is the feeling I'm reaching out for in this want, yeah? So let me give an example. What do I want? Money, lots of money. Why do I want it? To be able to pay my bills, to be able to, I don't know, buy stuff for myself. What is the feeling I'm reaching out for in this want? So what is the feeling I'm reaching out for? So it could be I'm reaching out for a feeling of security. It could be I'm reaching out for a feeling of stability. It could be I am reaching out for a feeling of worthiness. And when you go deep like this and you're very honest with yourself, yeah, then you'll able to see sometimes we're looking to meet our needs in the wrong spaces. We are looking to meet our needs in other people instead of meeting the needs ourselves, yeah? And then we get into a lot of conflict with others because we're expecting them to give us something that we should be giving ourselves. So here, please write down a list of what you want. All of them, like Christmas wish. Write down everything that you want, not what you think is possible, but what you want, not what you think your spouse wants for you, or your mother, or I don't know, your pastor, or your best friend, not what the society wants for you, but what you want for yourself. And please be very honest. When I did this for myself, it was very liberating. I was like, I am owning me, my wants, my needs, unapologetically, yeah? And the most amazing thing about this is once you start doing this, the universe starts showing you opportunities and spaces and ways of how to get those wants, yeah, that you want. Then a bit more on self-discovery, and we can take a screenshot of this because this might take time. Who am I? Who am I? When I remove my labels, the conscious life coach, the parent, the daughter, the sister, who am I really? Like, who are you without the titles? A very hard question. Sounds so easy, only 3 letters, but very hard to answer. And who you are, I can tell you this, it will be very grounded. Even, when all those labels, without the job, without the business, without the title misses, those things will never change because they define you. Then where are you going? What do you want? Where do you want to head? Why? we've talked about wanting what we want and why. What makes you happy? Why? The why opens, to understand yourself better. We've talked about our triggers. How do you sabotage yourself? Is it procrastination? Is it not showing up for opportunities? Is it not owning your story? Is it you not being authentic? Is it you saying no? Is it you, is it you not saying no? You don't set healthy boundaries. So you just go, Alice, would you want to? Yes, yes. And says, so Utaki, how do you sabotage? What do you struggle with? Please be very honest. And then the last one is very beautiful. What results do you want to create in your life? So, right, like just imagine yourself on your deathbed when you're, I don't know,